and then I'll turn it over to you, and we'll practice. We can always think of easier questions, and then we move from there to more complex questions, right? We can't get answers until we have questions. So if you're like me at all and you want to know how the world works, you want to know how reality works, you have to ask questions all the time, or you're not going to get any answers. Yeah, I won't get more into that, but we can't compare and contrast so well if we don't have answers about different things. And some of the answers might be we don't know, obviously, but you need to have the courage to ask the questions in the first place. And sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes that's very, very difficult to ask certain questions because they're taboo. So is something taboo because it should be taboo? Or is it taboo? For example, I think there's a law, I think it's in Thailand maybe. It's someplace in Asia. There's a law, you cannot say the king's name. It's completely taboo. I think you can go to jail for it. Yeah. Now, is there a reason? It's kind of crazy, right? Why is this taboo? Because it's the office. It's the role of being a king, that they want to have equal respect. So in some ways it makes sense to me. But there are things that are very taboo where I live, things that we're not allowed to talk about. We're not allowed to talk about certain things like, for example, World War II. There are many things that we are not, I mean, in being an American, technically I'm supposed to be able to ask these things, but it's very taboo. And people will think you're crazy if you say certain things or if you ask certain things. And that's not just with this. Obviously, it's everything. And it happens in Saudi Arabia. It happens all around the world, right? So it's not just here. So if you want to find answers about anything, and for example, in both of your jobs, this could be really important. What was it? I'm trying to remember. There's an example. Maybe one of you can help me remember what it was, but there was an example. I don't remember if it was in space travel. I don't remember. Actually, it's in a book. And maybe you've heard of this book. It's called Crucial Confrontations. Has anybody ever heard of this book? I think Rawa, maybe we talked about it at the beginning of class. No?
No, first time I heard about it.
This is a really good book, both of you. It's written by several authors. I think it's 4 different authors. There's another one. This was the follow-up. There's another one called Crucial Conversations. And it's this group of people who go to these different companies and talk about why things fail in these companies. And they use it in daily life too. My father gave it to my husband and I and all of our family. I have a big family. And he gave it to all of us for marriage, right? And for family, not just marriage, your sisters, your whatever. But these people go around the world into these different companies and talk about why there are problems. And it's usually because people are afraid of having conversations, or they make stories. They say this happened, so it must be because of this. And then they have feelings about it, which can create tension and things. But the point that I'm trying to say is for your particular jobs, if something is not safe, for example, and this was put in the book, there were many examples where something wasn't safe or something failed, and they asked, why did this happen? We have all these smart engineers, we have these technical security people, why did this happen? And the answer is, it happened because people were afraid, or they were angry, or they had feelings, and they didn't want to talk about it because it was taboo. Or so again, it's really important.
I think that we had similar situation at my previous project.
Did you?
Yeah, when I don't know, the general director of the organization changed the design, and they forced the contractor to perform his design without stating the risks for the project. He totally changed everything, and they want us to finish at the same time. So the consequences of the change appears after 2 or 3 months, where the project was late by maybe more than 6 months. because they were afraid to tell him from the start that these changes cannot be applied without new design, without new study. So he just wants the project to be finished within time and with the changes he made.
So Rawa, that's a really good example. And so what are you talking about? You're talking about time, you're talking about money. This kind of thing can bankrupt a company, and then people don't have jobs. So that impacts families, it impacts all, and in fact.